All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. We're just a bunch of Kiss fans and we talk Kiss. So come along for the ride. You've got nothing to lose. All right, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill. We are back. We are live. It's Saturday morning. We've got an audience, Kiss Vids, Kiss Rocks 57, G Chupko, Rodrigo, Stargazer. Good to see you again, Stargazer. I think it's been a little while. And today, Ken should be along shortly. Ken's got to do Ken stuff before Ken is ready to do Kiss stuff. And that's how life goes. Personal stuff first. But we do have Daniel Weeze on the board.
Hello.
And Marcus Almighty Mark. So we are going to get started. Let's start out with just a simple question. Who went to Vegas?
Well, none of us, obviously.
Yeah, none of us, none of the FAQ crew went to Vegas. There was a plethora, an overabundance of podcasters. Congratulations to Three Sides for their 2 sold-out panels. They couldn't get any more people in those rooms. They had to bar the doors and hose down the people trying to battle their way into those live recordings. They're going to start sharing their content very soon. I'm looking forward to it. Joe Polo. Joe, if I had a statue, an award to give a podcast right now, it would go to the #1 podcast in the universe, Podcast Rock City, for their coverage during Las Vegas. Thank you. I said it last week. Thank you to those guys for the coverage. They did a fantastic wrap-up video, which is just entertaining. Them making Karen hold the camera one last time while the 3 of them got to, just talk about their high points and thoughts of the events. I'm looking forward to their coverage. They go live usually Sunday evenings. For me, it's Sunday afternoons, 4 or 5 p.m., usually Eastern time. So you check them out. Mike Brunn was there, of course, and I haven't seen what coverage he's done, but no doubt he will be doing coverage. So there will have been a lot of stuff. There were a lot of videos. There were videos of the stream that came out. There were videos of the acoustic set that came out. And there were, at nearly every single aspect, whether it was the panels or the music, even the cooking, the Q&As, everything made it online, which is why we can do a show and talk about it. We can't talk about it of what it was like to see friends from across the world, or any of that aspect of things. That's just not possible. So we can talk about the music, and we are going to talk about the music, because at the end of the day, the music is what counts in all of these things. And a huge thanks to everyone who took the time. Shuckton on the board put up some videos that he recorded, but everyone who fed the village of idiots who didn't attend so that we could live vicariously through your camera screens while you held up those cameras instead of enjoying the show. I mean, shame on you, but thank you very much for that. We do appreciate it, because otherwise those clowns who didn't go wouldn't get to sit here and do a show and pontificate about the music that you enjoyed in person. So very important to me to just say thank you very much to everyone who did share content from the event. And also a huge, congratulations to Kiss for pulling it off. The Vibe team, Pop House team, the Virgin Hotel. I haven't heard any complaints from anyone who was actually there. I've heard a lot of complaints on the board from people who weren't, but for the people who count, for the people who put up their money, it's been overwhelmingly positive. Ken, you didn't go. Let's just go around the table from all of the video footage that you've seen and consumed. Did it change your mind? Do you have any regrets for not attending Kiss Landlocked in Vegas?
No, I mean, it looked like a great time. Do I regret? I don't regret spending a lot of money to do it. So, because I need it for the box sets and other bills I have to pay, among other things. So, I don't regret it from that standpoint. If I had the money to just blow away, yeah, it's kind of a regret. But I just can't do it. So, but just from the standpoint of how it went down, and looks like everything was well organized, and the music of all the different performances were really, really well done. and top notch. So yeah, great job by everybody. So yeah, no regrets. No regrets though. Yeah.
Stargazer, would you complain after spending more than $1,000? Yeah, Kiss fans will complain about anything and not spending anything. So absolutely, people will complain. Daniel, what about you? They didn't get you to come down off your mountain, and for not being there in person.
No, not really. I know a couple of Swedes that went over there, and they seemed really satisfied with the experience, much as you said about the other people attending. So, I guess if you're there, it's hard to have a bad time, surrounded by the Kiss army and tribute bands and whatever. The pricing is off the scales, but if you have the money, I do understand that you go there, and I'm sure they had a great time. And that's about it.
Yeah, God damn it, Liverpool just lost. I've kind of already talked about. I regret not going. I regretted when they announced the pre-show all-star party with who provided 3 sets of music that we'll be talking about.
Yeah.
I tried to get tickets and I missed out on the ones that I wanted. That would have gotten me to go to Vegas, if only for the pre-party. Mark, what about you? Any regrets?
No regrets. Basically, look, I don't want to sound like the Debbie Downer in the room all the time, but essentially we see the same thing all the time with these guys. The acoustic set is pretty much the same acoustic set they've done for who knows how long, with maybe the exception of 1 or 2 things. And one more thing, Gene, if you're listening to this, come on, get a jumbotron or get some kind of screen. This guy never gets lyrics right. It gets annoying after a while. Like, don't you know your own songs? Like, give me a break, man. I know you have a lot of songs and you're getting a bit older, but everybody now has those little things on their stand now that have the lyrics on there. You have no excuses anymore. Okay, do it right, man. Come on. And the other, like the other bands, I thought were pretty good. I enjoyed the redone Kiss Alive with the All-Star band was cool, and those things were great. And Bruce Kulick, of course, was to me the standout of the whole thing.
Well, I'll be asking everyone to declare their MVP for all this event after we go through some of the music. Let's start with the panel highlights, all the extra accoutrements. And again, this is another area where I want to just say congratulations to the technical team. You managed to do Zoom sessions remote. Now, there are reasons why those were Zoom sessions and not in person, but they had Eddie Kramer and they had Bob Ezrin for panels. The Eddie Kramer one was with Jeff Fuhrer, product manager. I don't remember his title. Sorry, Jeff, for Universal, talking about the box sets. And for me, that was one of the very best ones because Jeff went into the sort of details that most people never get to hear behind the scenes. And people who are involved in projects directly or on the periphery aren't really supposed to talk about and usually don't. So things that people hear when these projects are coming together should never really be hinted at or talked about. But there's the guy who is the decision maker and the point of authority talking about them. So it was very cool, the information that he got to share. Bob Ezrin did a great remote session as well, and really got to speak. So I thought those were great. There was cooking. There was someone said it was lame that they did pick throwing, but Gene's talking during it. I think he thought it was lame that they were videoing it. Gene talks. Paul talks during the cooking show, so filming it to see what these guys are saying as they're going along are very cool. Daniel, let's start with you. What of all the other sorts of panels and events outside of the main Kiss-related musical events were some of the standouts for you that you went and tracked down?
Well, of course, I had to watch the Eddie Kramer interview and the Bob Ezrin interview. I think if I'll start with something that I was a bit disappointed in, and when they had Bob Ezrin on there, I was hoping for an in-depth discussion on Revenge, and maybe The Elder as well. Destroyer we've heard so much about, but I would love to hear I would love to hear what he did to Bruce Kulick during the Revenge recordings, because Bruce always talks about Ezrin kicked my ass all the time. He tortured me, and that made me a great player on that record. I would have loved to hear his, the psychology behind his decisions and how he made Bruce play like he did on Revenge, because I think it's one of his best records, Bruce Kulick, after that horrendous Hot in the Shade record. So I was a little bit disappointed. They mentioned it a little bit, but they could have talked about it more. When it comes to Paul Stanley's cooking thing, there they need to end that, I think. But I guess he loves cooking, so that's why he does it. But I would much more prefer, him talking about his songs, how they're structured, more about the music, and have someone ask the right questions. But for sure, it was interesting to see Kramer and Esrin. Maybe we don't have that many times that we can see them again. So I think it was very important that they brought in the two biggest names that ever produced Kiss. Sorry, Vinnie Poncia, but I think you're in third place maybe. And I did enjoy the thing that Eric Singer and Tommy Thayer did when they, sort of like we've done at times, sort of a quiz. You play a snippet of a song, and you try to guess it. And I know that all of us would have beaten those guys competing, but that's not the point. The point was that they were having fun, and I especially enjoyed it when Tommy did something on the guitar, and Eric said, "I don't know that." They didn't even know each other's, but I think it was loose. And also I have to say that Eric Singer brought something to the whole event. He seemed so loose, and he played like a monster. And I also enjoyed when he gave Gene Simmons his props. Talking about, Eric Singer has played with a lot of bass players, and he really had sort of a tribute speech to Gene there during one of the question and answers. I really enjoyed that. So there's a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, Gene downplays his musicality, but the guy can do a bass line without a doubt. All right, Mark, Eddie Kramer, or which one did you make a beeline? I know you made a beeline for the Bob Ezra one so you could throw pics at the screen.
Honestly, I didn't watch too many of those. I was honestly more about the music, about what I wanted to watch. I could care less about Paul cooking. If I want to see cooking, I'll watch Jamie Oliver. I don't want to watch Paul Stanley. But the other things. Eddie Kramer was a must for me to see, as a guy who loves engineering and loves the studio trickeries and stuff like that. He was the guy that I really wanted to check out. Honestly, I haven't seen one word of the Bob Ezrin one. And that's not because I don't think that it's worth watching, and it's because it's Bob. I just didn't get around to watching it yet. I'll definitely take a look at it. Like I said before, I don't have a problem with Bob as a producer / engineer or whatever. I just had a problem with his work with Kiss. That's it. But I'm sure he has lots of great things to talk about as far as engineering and other things. So he wasn't high on my list. But I didn't watch any of these other things, like the pick tossing thing. Come on, that's just not really a great thing to watch, in my opinion, but I could be wrong. The quiz thing I didn't watch. Honestly, I spent a lot of the time watching the musical events. That to me was really where where it was at. And I'd like to make one recommendation to Gene again. You can start thinking of some different stories. He keeps bringing up that same one about how, we like to take each other's song ideas, like the Black Diamond thing, and that again for the 700th time he's bringing up that story again. Get some new stories in this circle here. Come on, man! Like, he's rehashing the same stuff over and over and over again, and I'm sure he has lots of things he can talk about. The man's been in the music business for how long now? So come on, think of some new stuff, Gene.
All right, Ken, what was your favorite?
My favorite of the other stuff?
Of the other stuff.
The other stuff, I would say it was the Eddie Kramer and that. And who was it? Was it Universal guy there too? Whoever was doing it.
Yeah, he was better than the Guinness guy.
The guy that does the, talking about doing the box sets and that sort of thing. Those things was very interesting to me. Yeah, and Eddie Kramer all of his stuff was great. But yeah, I wanted to know what was going on as far as the music going forward and releases. And it sounds like they're going to do more box sets, but supposedly based on anniversary dates. And I say that they shouldn't do that. Or if they do, they can still do it. I think there's a post I put where I thought, they could still do the first album next year and still call it the 50th anniversary. Who cares? You're just putting a number on it. Let's call it 50th anniversary and release it. So or else just don't put any anniversary. Just say Super Deluxe Edition. That's all that you need to do. You don't have to wait for the freaking year, 1978 to do the solo, 2028 to do the solo albums from 78. So that sort of stuff. So anyway, but that was really good. I thought it was interesting. The other stuff, their interview with the four of them was, good. It's dominated by, of course, always
Eric.
Gene and Paul. No, Gene and Paul. Eric. No, he's not dominating.
Eric actually injected himself in.
He did get into it.
That. He's like, "What are you going to do? Fire me?" He was completely free and easy. It was awesome.
Yeah. He was put his word in there more than usual. Tommy, no, but that was about it. The other stuff that Ezrin won, that bored me to death. So sorry, I was just trying to skip forward to get to something good, but there was nothing really informative or new.
Which one did you skip forward through?
Ezrin, of course. Yeah.
Ezrin. No, I didn't catch which one you said. Sorry, that's all.
Oh yeah, Bob Ezrin. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, otherwise, I didn't see the pick throwing. I skipped forward through the cooking. Until he got out front towards the end and answered some questions. That's where I stopped and listened at that point, because I didn't care about the cooking or anything like that.
Yeah, I thought the Kiss.
Oh,
Q&A
just really
was
quick. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sorry, just one quick thing. I just want to reiterate that the whole Jamie Oliver thing was supposed to prove the point that I don't like Jamie. He's a terrible cook, which would make Paul even a worse cook. So there you go. That's why I was trying
Jamie Oliver's a horrible cook.
Well, he's not. He ain't no standout cook. British. I mean, even Paul Stanley's probably on his level.
He's not the galloping gourmet.
He ain't no 10-star cook. I'm sure there's others that are much better. He's
Julia
taking offense to this. Wow, he's taking
reaching back.
He's British.
Do you know him? Are you like personal friends with Jamie Oliver or something?
No, I know what he does, and I know he's a good meat and potatoes type cook who feeds a lot of children in school and is very big on nutrition.
Good.
I'm not talking about
nutrition.
That end, I'm just talking
nutritious cooking without being artsy fartsy and foo foo. So that's my vibe on Jamie Oliver. Yeah, let me just ban Mark and we'll continue. No. What was I going to say? No, I've really enjoyed the Kiss panel. For once, that went exceeded expectations. It still had some of the regular sorts of question. It's like, why on earth you waited 55 years to meet the band, and your question is that? It's had a couple of those, but they took control of it, and really, again, I already said that I really enjoyed Eric going a little bit rogue and just injecting stuff into it. That was very, very good. The Ezrin panel was great. The Kramer one, I don't think Kramer got enough time. I think it really would have been better. And again, there's logistical issues, which are why some of these are combined. It would have made far more sense for Eddie Kramer to be featured solely. Same with Bob Ezrin, not combined. You can put Bob and Bruce together, but there was too much distraction and non-topics on the Bruce panel, where nothing was very satisfying there for the people that you had on that panel. So that one was a bit of a disappointment, but I enjoyed what Bob had to say and what he was able to talk about. Eddie Kramer went into great detail and was very good. But again, I would have liked more separation between some of these guys so that they got more attention individually than having to share the spotlight. I didn't watch the pick throwing. I didn't watch the Name That Tune or any of those sorts of things. I didn't even watch Quarantine Set. And I feel a little bit bad for not including it because they're also holding up the banner. But because Bruce is doing the same thing and was a member of KISS, that's why I haven't included them in this. They're more a party type thing with no real connections with the band.
Just real quick, there's a lot of content to digest after an event like this. I mean, you have to pick and choose a bit in the beginning, but I guess most of us will watch most of the stuff, but we need more time. It's like when Sam Loomis, released all that stuff. I mean, it was like overload, and that's sort of the same feeling after that you have after a cruise or this thing. There's so much, so you pick, what do you say, from the cake, you
Icing
pick
on the cake.
yeah, you pick the best stuff first, and then you
Yes.
digest the rest later on. So I don't blame you for not watching Quarantine. They're way down on the list, but they're still pretty cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch Quiet Riot either, for that matter. So
No, I'm thinking of skipping that one.
yeah, Black and Blue. I will check out if anything services, but I haven't seen it.
I like to watch
Rat,
the Sebastian Bach. I haven't seen
that was apparently
one.
very good. I haven't seen that one yet, and I don't know if that made it out. So let's talk about some of the musical performances. And one thing I find very interesting, as just to frame this first part, is on the 13th you had basically 3 sets of music. You had the Ace Frehley Band tribute, the All-Star Band jam, and then the Handsome Devils. That shit saved this event. Having all those sets of music just absolutely explodes the amount of Kiss content that was performed during this event, and that's why I was interested in going and to see these groups and these people, making the music was actually very, very appealing. I would love to see that sort of lineup at an expo. That would make me very happy. Especially the Handsome Devils, and you look at what they've done with Creatures of the Night and Music from the Elder separately. They did a great follow-up, in my opinion, today. So let's go into the first set, which was the Ace Frehley tribute band. What are your highlights from that set, and just general comments? Mark, I'll go straight to you, sir.
I really enjoyed that. I mean, I thought they were, they performed well. The I don't remember their names. I'm terrible with names. The long blonde hair guy with the Les Paul, he was the guy in the center all the time. He was really good. There was a couple of moments here and there that were a little bit off in some spots, but overall I thought it was fantastic. I think mainly the drummer. Who was drumming for them? Do you remember who was drumming?
For what? For the Frehley
Ace
band?
Frehley tribute. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Scott Coogan. That's the Ace Frehley band.
Yeah, because he had a couple of stumbles here and there, but that's okay. I mean, overall, I thought it was fantastic on there. And some of the highlights for me, honestly, were I love the fact that they did "Love Theme" from Kiss, even though that was one of the ones that they had a little trouble with. But the fact that you never get to hear that too much in a live scenario is why I found it immediately interesting. Strange Ways was great. Getaway was fantastic. Hard Times was good. I mean, there's everything they played pretty much was really good. And also they had a really great lighthearted feel on there. Like when they brought out Steve Brown there for his song when he came out there, they were always ribbing him about this is the guy who did 10,000 volts, and he'll let you know that many times if you'd let him. Like just jabbing little things. You could tell that the vibe was really fun up on stage. So I thought it was great. The one song that I thought that they didn't really necessarily need to do was Detroit Rock City, but everything else I thought was completely on point. I thought that it was a fantastic set list. Love that they ended with Rocket Ride and Shock Me, and of course the opener, Rip It Out. But the whole thing was really good. And what I really did like about it was the fact that there were little human mistakes in there, and that's what makes live music live music. I mean, as long as that's not a complete derail or something like that, then it's great.
Yeah, the Ace Frehley Band tribute, that was Scott Coogan, Ryan Spencer Cook, Jeremy Asbrock, who's the blonde, and Zach Throne. Now, add into that this was the band performing for the first time since Ace died, and you have a very emotional moment for those musicians getting up there and playing the songs that they've been playing with Ace over the past, 7 years since Australia. Those guys have been with Ace on the road continuously through the end of his life. Imagine what it was like, what they felt like getting on a stage to play those songs again without the spaceman in their midst. Yeah, So I'm not surprised there were a few moments musically where the wheels got a bit loose, because my heart broke watching those guys going through it. I loved just going straight into Rip It Out. That's my Ace Frehley deuce. That's the song I was disappointed at the whiskey that he dropped from the set, but I'd gotten to hear at soundcheck. That made me so happy. I was really thrilled with Getaway, fun, up tempo, the sort of stuff I wish had been thrown into the set. Just that one casual rotating deep cut, whether it's Kiss, whether it's Ace. Would love to have heard that more. And it's so freaking fun as a song. And my third standout for that is Hard Times, because that's almost the ultimate tribute to Ace in some ways. I hope in the future the Ace Frehley band will realize and make real some of the things that didn't happen with Ace. And just a quick tangent, the full performance of Ace's 1978 solo album should have been recorded and filmed in a theater. That is now a massive, missed opportunity from Ace's life. That did not get done. That was not realized for whatever reason. I would still love them to do an Ace Frehley band tribute to Ace, and hopefully down the road they'll be able to do so, because they're a great bunch of guys. They've been passionate. They're a great bunch of music fans, not just Kiss fans, but music fans with dedication to what they do. Ken, Ace Frehley band.
Yeah, they were great. It was good seeing, hearing all those Ace tunes played live. Especially, well, you can't go wrong with Rip It Out. Love that, just because it rocks so hard. And then, like you, Julian, Hard Times was a big one for me, because I love that song very much. And I enjoyed, the other ones too, all the great, Rocket Ride and Shock Me, of course. But I was kind of happy to see Rock Soldiers come out too. Pull that one out, because I always enjoy that one off of Frehley's Comet album. So yeah, it's all good. Detroit Rock City, like Mark said, could have probably put in something else, because why do we need to see hear Detroit Rock City again? It's kind of like at a Kiss concert, we have heard it so many times. So that's the only one I would pull and switch out with something else. Otherwise, it was great set list, great performance.
Yeah, thanks, Super Zapper. The tribute montage at the beginning was incredibly touching and very well put together.
Yeah.
So kudos. I think that was Nigel who did that. I'm not sure, but very well done. All right, Daniel, what are your picks from the Ace tribute band?
Well, I have to agree with the previous speakers. Rip It Out. I actually did a poll on my YouTube page where actually thousands of people answered, and voted. They voted on every Ace record, and the best song moved on. And the best song from his post Kiss career, or original Kiss, was Rock Soldiers. That was the most popular one. So of course it's nice to hear that one, and that's a song that people still enjoy to this day. The best song from his solo record was it was a close call between New York Groove and Rip It Out, but Rip It Out won. And you can't go wrong with Rip It Out. I understand why most Kiss Army members have that as their favorite song. And then finally, the favorite Kiss song from Ace Frehley was, of course, Shock Me. And all those were included in the set, and I truly enjoy those songs live. I recently heard an interview with one of the guys from the band. I think it was Eddie Trunk who did the interview, and it was real fun. You can go and check it out, because he talked a lot about touring with Ace. The funniest things happened. For example, he's notoriously bad with names. So I don't know what the name of the bass player is, but let's say it's Scott. Then sometimes from stage he says, "And on Scott, Mr. Bass." Stuff like that. So I think it was hilarious to hear those stories. So go and check out that interview.
You know what? Just before we move on from the tribute band, I had a thought yesterday, and I don't know the answer. I don't know if it's just something that popped into my head in one of those moments. 10,000 Volts, album title, song title. I wonder if that had anything to do with silly safes. That Gene was left with 10,000 volts in storage units because it hadn't had the uptake that he had
10,000
hoped.
volts, and he
I
misunderstood what that. Yeah.
Was that a little bit of playful play on words, or is it just a
10,000
coinky dink?
volts.
A jab in the ribs.
All right, let's move on. The All-Star Band. Ryan had clearly had a couple of beverages in between sets because Joey Casada comes in on drums, and then it's Ryan Spencer Cook, Jeremy Asbrock, and I think it's Zach Throne again on bass for the All-Star Band Alive Jam. And all of this is bonus music. So, Daniel, let's start with you for the All-Star Band. What were the ones that jumped out at you for that set that followed?
Actually, the thing I watched the most and that I really listened to was the drumming from that Casada guy. I think he is very good at mimicking the drum styles of the Kiss drummer. So that was the thing I paid closest attention to. So I really enjoy his drumming, and he seems like a nice, cool guy that's a true Kiss fan. So it's good to see him up there, waving the Kiss flag. So that was actually the thing I enjoyed the most, his drumming.
Oh, really? Okay. Ken, this one was chock full of Gene songs. So which Gene songs were your favorite from the Alive tribute?
All of them. No, that was really good. And I liked that it was a true Alive kind of thing. They played two-thirds of the Alive album. And I was like, oh, I'm hearing, the Alive album here. And they did all the songs just fantastic. Just a great job on everything. It's nothing to say bad about it. It was really solid. So, Let Me Go Rock and Roll at the end. The whole thing was good. And, nothing, I wouldn't say anything stands out better than anything else because it was just all solid straight through it, the whole set.
Real quick, I just have to say that the bass player, he really nails the vocals as well. I love his.
He's very good. Yeah, you're right. He did very good on the Gene vocals there too. I agree with that. So yeah, just solid.
Yeah, for me, this was quite a fun set. I loved the moment during Strutter when Neil Davis has to run out on stage and is trying to put down the set list in front of the guys because Ryan didn't know what the set list was. So I thought that was a great moment. I love Deuce at the beginning. Again, Deuce is always my jam, but there was something special about it. The mix was a little bit off, and Joey's drums were pretty forward. So you really got the full effect of Joey Licious in full motion on that. Joey's a great drummer. Again, I had, excuse me, I had money on him, making an appearance with Kiss before Eric committed to everything because, again, he is that caliber of drummer. Scott Coogan could easily as well.
Joey wanted too much money.
No, it conflicted with his podcast schedule. So
that's right.
So Deuce was one of my standouts from that set, but so was Nothing to Lose. Oh, again, two Gene
That's
songs.
always good. Yeah.
You're making progress with me. I'm turning to the red side.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah, and then
the dark side.
To make it a perfect trio for Ken, Watching You was my other pick. Really.
Yeah, that's always
It worked out pretty well. It was a bit rough and ready, the set, but for what it was good fun. Mark, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's Alive. I mean, how can you go wrong playing these songs from that record? I mean, it's such a standout album. I mean, obviously at this point, this is such a celebratory night that I'm sure by this point they were really deep in the bottle. Some of these guys, and you can see a little bit. Some of them were getting a little sloppy here and there. But the great thing is, it's Kiss music, right? I mean, you can go up there, half in the bag and still do a really good performance of it because it's not that overly complicated. It's not like, if it was a tribute to, like Dream Theater or something, you can't do that. I mean, you would derail the whole thing. But, they did such a great job. I thought the performances were really good. the bass player nails Gene's parts and his vocals perfectly. I agree with Daniel 100%. He's such a great singer, and he performed those songs really, really well. And again, you have the benefit of having such a perfect set list made for you already. I kind of found it humorous though that they had to put a set list down, because you would think that an album that's so ingrained in people's mind, you would know the song list off the top of your head perfectly, that you wouldn't even need a set list for that. But I wonder if that was almost half for humor's sake doing that, because like I said, I mean, I can't imagine going to any musician saying, and having them say that they don't know what the songs were on that album. But again, I have nothing but good things to say about this. Great performances again, and Joey on drums was great. He was really, really good. I think he's a great drummer. He shines, and not only in this band, but obviously in the Handsome Devils, where I think is something that I can already see them doing a lot more stuff in the near future, because they were really stand out.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I got everyone for the All-Star Band, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the evening musically concluded on the 13th with the Handsome Devils. Todd Kearns on lead vocals. Can't remember what it was. He guitar as well. Joey on drums. Gabriel O'Connor on bass and vocals. Luis the Magnificent Khalil on guitar. That guy is a freaking monster.
He's excellent. Yeah.
What a group those guys are, and just the fact that their set is so varied. I'm going to go first on this because my picks from their set. This is in direct competition with the Bruce Kulick group in terms of content and also passion and energy. There is just so much. These guys are shit hot, and the music that they're representing is from when I became a fan. So my picks were Saint and Sinner, dirty and it's sleazy, and it's just, it's oozing all that sort of creature's grime. Fits like a glove. Wait, what the hell? How many Gene songs am I picking today, Ken? What the hell's going on? Malfunction, reboot. Fits like a glove. In what universe would someone not enjoy a competent performance of Fits Like a Glove with the energy and the attitude? But Dark Light, a little tribute to Ace there, was a really nice change of pace. One thing, when the Handsome Devils did their full Kiss Cancer Goodbye performance of music from The Elder, I wasn't a big fan of the miking or sound on Joey's drums. There was perfection for this performance, and I was able to hear some of that Elder stuff with the sort of bombastic drums that it needed. So that was a real fixing of something just for my taste that really helped. And my final pick, guess what, Ken? Killer.
Killer. Awesome.
Killer. Yeah. So
another
again, there's no wrong answers in any of this. They put together such a perfectly crafted and paced set list. It was just, I mean, at the end of the night, to come in with that much energy, it's like you're being pummeled by Mike Tyson. Daniel.
Easy pick for me. Fits Like a Glove, of course. One of my absolute favorite songs of all time. I always enjoyed when Kiss performed that one live during the 80s and on the Hot in the Shade tour. And then we never got to hear it until Gene Simmons played it on his solo tour. I remember I didn't see what he was going to play before I went to the show, and I was really taken aback when they started Fits Like a Glove back in 2018 at Gröna Lund, the classic Kiss venue. That was a real high point. So I really enjoyed that. But I enjoy everything this band does. I've seen their previous concerts from Kiss Cancer Goodbye and stuff like that. And as someone mentioned, that guitar player is a monster. I mean, seeing him playing Vinnie Vincent solos from Lick It Up, from the songs from Lick It Up, I've never heard anyone play them like that. I think he nails them. and I truly enjoy his style on stage as well. I guess it's the energy that you're talking about, Julian. There's a lot of energy in this band, and the Bruce Kulick band sure they have some tough competition when it comes to this band, because they are all, active, energetic, every member of the band. It's like seeing Kiss back in the day. So I hope they continue with this stuff, and I hope they bring it over here to the other side of the pond for some expos next year.
Yeah, I think the X factor for them is the passion, and it just drips off their performance. Mark, thanks for showing up the video. What were your picks from the Handsome Devil set?
There were so many great things on here. I mean, for me personally, I think that the ace, as you would say, the ace in the ace up the sleeve for this band, to me, is Todd Kearns. I mean, I think that he's the guy that really, I think, stood out for me on here. Great guitar playing, fantastic voice, and I've known this guy for a long time before nobody even had a clue who he was. Back when he was in the Age of Electric here in Canada, where he was playing, and they had a couple of records out. And much different. It was a little bit more alt rock back then when he was in that band. But I was well aware of the guy for a long time before he went. That's why when I saw him pop up, with Altered Bridge and some of these other people, as well, I was like, wow, he really progressed up the ladder. But as far as the Handsome Devil set is concerned, they played a lot of the songs that I love, like from this era, like Saint and Sinner. I've always loved that song. So happy they played that. And of course, Killer was great. War Machine is fantastic.
More Gene songs.
But again, the thing is, they could have played anything from that era, and I would have enjoyed it. I've had enough Into the Fire. Mm-hmm. I mean, what a great song. And to end off the set with two high-paced songs like that, and especially Young and Wasted, that was a great performance of Young and Wasted. I mean, I thought it was really well done. So again, this whole set list to me was pretty good. Great. Never mind. And a million to one. I mean, how could I forget that? A Million to One is probably one of my favorite Paul era songs, like from that era. I mean, overall. So, and again, hats off, Mr. Kearns, getting some love from Canada here for your performance. Great stuff. And, hopefully, like I said, I hope they continue doing stuff down the line.
I have to say, Todd Kearns is like the superstar of the band. However, I think the reason why we pick a lot of Gene songs is because no one can really touch prime Paul Stanley. I think I've never heard anyone sing his songs as well as he did back in the day. Even though Todd Kearns is great, he's not on the same level as Paul singing those songs.
Let's
move on to you, Ken.
Yeah, no, there's truth in that. When you look at how we're all singing the praises of the Gene song vocals, much more so than Paul. When people sing Paul's songs, I think it's true. Ken, I mean, you're like really, you got a big smile there today from all this love for Gene Simmons.
Yeah, it's always be on the majority sides. Finally, no. This whole thing was just fantastic. I have to say, though, Exciter, which is one of my favorite songs off of Lick It Up. I just thought, that's, what a great song to play and start with, because it's such one of those types of songs you just want to kick off either an album or a concert with, and you can't, miss on that. So, also, Dark Light, like you said, Julian, with kind of the Ace little nod there. I'm happy to hear that song live, and the solo part of that is cool that Ace did originally, and they replicated that really, really well. I have to agree with. I've had enough Into the Fire, because you don't hear any animalized stuff enough, stuff like that. I really enjoyed hearing that. Of course, I enjoyed hearing all the Gene songs. And the thing that stood out to me when I was listening to this, I thought they could almost make a concept album out of those three albums, from like a story from The Elder, Lick It Up, and Creatures. Those three albums you could make a actual kind of music from the Elder story from those 3 albums and just continue it and using songs from Creatures and Look It Up. I was just thinking about it. It's like, you could actually do it and make a hard rocking concept, by yourself, of course. But anyway, I thought it was great.
Yep. All right. So now that's day one over. That's the pre-party. Wow, what an incredible musical jukebox that event was. So again, congratulations to Neil Davis, the Kiss Army Spain guys, for realizing that event, and to all the musicians for pulling it off. You get to the next day, and it's the Kiss acoustic kickoff. And I think for anyone who's gone to a cruise, the acoustic or electric sail away is an important part of the event where everyone comes together to really kick off things. Kiss did a set comprised of, not surprisingly, opening with Coming Home, See You Tonight, A World Without Heroes, Hard Luck Woman, Christine 16, Nothing to Lose, Going Blind, Hide Your Heart, Plaster Caster, Love Her All I Can. I've already kind of mentioned Beth and how they need to give that a rest. But Ken, let's start with you. What were your thoughts of the sail away? They did a moment of silence in honor of Ace Frehley, and then your picks from
Yeah,
that.
I mean, the thing about the moment of silence is good, great. I just think Ace should have been recognized a little bit more during, maybe not necessarily this part. It could have been any part, or maybe the electric show. I don't know, but that kind of just bothered me. There should have been a little bit more effort into giving a tribute to Ace. That's just my opinion on it. Otherwise, the acoustic kickoff, yeah, it's kind of loose and kind of laid back kind of environment for that type of performance. It started off kind of rough at the beginning, I think, especially vocally for Gene at the beginning. I don't know what it was at the beginning. He got his footing later, but I don't know if he was kind of holding back or what was up with him, or he just needed to clear his throat out or something. But otherwise, the performances were good. Standouts for me, I don't know. I do like Nothing to Lose, of course, and Going Blind. Those two are really top notch for me as performance. And I always, and then Love Her All I Can at the end was pulling that out at the end was the kind of the cherry on top of the whole thing. You always want to hear them pull out a very early nugget, a really good nugget of a song and play that, and that was a surprise. So it was what was expected, but it was still enjoyable.
Daniel.
To be perfectly honest, I think it was a bit lazy, the whole concept, the whole concert. They didn't play well. Had they rehearsed even? I think, as you said, Gene sounded really hoarse. Maybe you should warm up a bit before you start singing to a crowd. Yeah, and the set list, well, they actually removed the songs from MTV Unplugged that were really hard to sing, like I Still Your Love, and replaced them. So we at least got a few new ones, but it really was the MTV set list from '95 with a few surprises. So what I really enjoyed was that they actually played Hide Your Heart and that song from Dress to Kill.
Love Her All I Can.
Love Her All I Can, yeah. I think those two were, kind of fun to hear. Other than that, it was the same old, same old. And this is, when they play for the true Kiss Army fans, they should make an effort. But, we all know that they have a hard time doing that. They did that back, if you go to the first few cruises, they actually put in an effort and tried a few different songs. But Nowadays they just do the same old stuff. So I was a bit disappointed, and I think they could have done it better.
I think they play it safe because they know what works. But I think this puts to bed, in Vegas anyway, there was always the excuse made when they were doing the cruises in a boat that there were some people on there with Kruise as their priority and Kiss was secondary. You can't make that argument now for Vegas. So Lover All I Can was my pick from this. I was furious when I heard Beth. It's like, why are you continuing to flog that dead horse? It's just disrespectful. There's no reason or justification for it now in my mind. I thought Hide Your Heart was a missed opportunity to bring Bruce out. But maybe they were just saving that, for what we'll be talking about next.
We'll get to that.
I don't have a lot of criticism of the set itself. They know what works. They know what they're comfortable with. I think the tribute to Ace threw them off, and I think that affected Gene. And
maybe
at the beginning, and it was rough. He and Paul didn't sound great. They warmed up and got into it. So if I'd been there, it would have been my same kind of reaction to the set on Kiss Cruise 8 on the acoustic Sail Away. But at least that had Ace and Bruce, joining in at the end. So it is what it is. Mark?
I'll have to agree 100% with Daniel. I was a little disappointed about this. I mean, honestly, I think my big mistake with this whole thing was that I watched the old pre stuff first, like the Handsome Devils, the All-Star Band, Ace Frehley, and then I got to the Kiss stuff, and I was kind of like, ooh, okay. Now we're starting to see the age difference here now, because those guys were like, kicking it up and having a great time, and they were actually, vocally very good. And then, like when they started playing See You Tonight, like that's one of my favorite Gene songs that he's done. And acoustically, I thought it was excellent when they did it on the Unplugged. And then when they did it this time, it sounded like Grandpa Bob singing it this time. It was like his voice was so, I know it's around. It's like sounds so, not prepared. I mean, and I take that kind of personally in a sense, being a guy who's toured too as well, not to the extent of Kiss, obviously, but that doesn't matter. As a playing musician, when you go out on stage, you have to warm up, or at least you have to do the things that make you prepared to sing. I mean, John Bon Jovi back in his good days used to take a shot of Southern Comfort before he went out to sing, and it helped him apparently. Do what you have to do to get your voice in shape to do it. If it takes 20 minutes to do your la 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 to get you in shape, do it. The problem with these guys now is they're not putting in that effort anymore. And I find that disappointing, because they said that that's what they were getting involved, that they didn't like the way things were going, that they wanted to put the ship right and come back and get involved with it. But man, I mean, performance wise, you didn't really do much on that end of it. I mean, I thought musically it was okay. That wasn't terrible. I mean, thankfully Eric Singer was there. He was a decent still backbone to it all. And Tommy was pretty good too. But, the two founding original members, shame on you guys, man. You got people who were paying thousands of dollars to go up there to watch you guys. And that was really, as Daniel said, that was a pretty half-assed attempt at it. So that's all I got to say.
Eric's vocals really came through in both of the Kiss sets as being far more important now than they've ever been.
Yeah, of course.
To making it even marginally passable. Did I get everyone for the acoustic?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, great. Let's move into the electric Kiss set. If I had been there, I would have been happy straight off the bat. There was Deuce. That's one of my picks, Ken.
Of course.
Repeatedly. I think the pre-party and the power of all of that music really changes the reaction to everything that comes after, because you go from the energy and the passion of the pre-party to the Kiss acoustic and the Kiss set itself. I'm going to stay completely positive on the Kiss set, because it is what it is. This was the first time they'd really put together a live show in 2 years. Clearly, 2 years hasn't changed anything in terms of reality. But I think they should be commended on really shaking up the set list and putting in some lesser known songs like Take Me, Hotter Than Hell, Watching You, even Got
Yeah.
to Choose, Lover All I Can. I would have been happy in that set.
Mhm.
And while I say I'm going to stay positive and just focus on that, I've got one criticism that I've got to mention. In 2018 for Kiss Cruise 8, when they did Shock Me with Tommy during the Cruise show, Electric show in the Starlight Theater, whatever it was, I sat down because I was just, I just do not like that. I was pissed. This was an opportunity for them to actually do Shock Me as a tribute to Ace, where I would have stood up and been like, yes.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
Mhm.
they can't win. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But to me, this would have been the one opportunity where where Tommy could have stepped up to the microphone and said, and then ripped into Shock Me and
Mhm.
done
Yeah,
that little
that would
bit
have
of
been great.
Ace's solo at the end as a tribute to him. Now, that said, about it being a good moment and all that, opinions vary, and the emotion of it may have broken Gene and Paul, and Eric, and Tommy for that matter, because you don't know what those guys are feeling or how tough it is for them to get up and play on stage a month after Ace passes away. So what may sound good in theory may just be completely unpractical. But there you go. Julian miserable on the Kiss Cruise 8, but now it's okay. I'm a Kiss fan. It's all down to the day. Ken.
Yeah, I remember when that cruise happened and they played Shock Me, and I was like, I was okay with it back then. It's a good song. Why not just play it? Ace is not in the band and at the time, and I was okay with it. Because I want to hear it live. So from that standpoint, but anyway, this electric show was great. I was very surprised because I thought they were just going to play an end of the road set list with minus two songs, or but they did more than that. So I was surprised, like with Take Me, definitely that. Watching You is always a good one to pull out and use. The other ones, Lover or Can, again, like from the acoustic one, that was great. Black Diamond, my favorite. I always want to hear that live, and that was really well done. Otherwise, I did not want, Do You Love Me in there. Even Lick It Up. I think they could have still switched those two out and used, 70s, something from the 70s. Though I am glad they didn't do I Was Made for Loving You in this set list. So I was kind of. Now, the other thing I just want to point out is they did pretty interesting thing. They did 3 songs from the debut album, 3 songs from Hotter Than Hell, 3 songs from Just to Kill, 3 songs from Destroyer, and then they did 2 from Rock and Roll Over. They probably should have done 3 from Rock and Roll Over and then added 1 more song after that. But otherwise, I thought, that's a pretty, the first set of albums. They kind of recognized that early period. Now, that is the core of the Kiss stuff. So I thought that was great. The thing at the end of that, though, bothered me. I know Julian wouldn't want to get into it, but just to deal with Bruce Kulick, they get him out there. And then, of course, Paul wasn't happy with something that he did during the middle stupid part of Lick It Up that they do, which they don't need to do. But then later on, when they're going off, or right before Rock and Roll All Night, Gene was gonna, trying to say something to Paul, and Paul just totally ignored Gene on that. I'm pretty sure it was going to be about saying something about Bruce or doing something, but then at the end, after it's all over, Paul just walks right by Bruce, doesn't even, nothing. And then it seems like Tommy and then Gene had a little discussion at the end with Bruce. Don't know what happened, don't know what they said, but it just didn't look good to me. And therefore, that's why you had the apology, I think, from Paul. But you got to look at Paul's experience there. So when Bruce came out, did you notice in the video that when he came out, the crowd kind of got a little excited? He was over there, and all the cameras, they're holding up their phones. The phones, they go, whoop, they're all like totally focused at that. And I could see Paul standing there and looking at everyone's just looking over this way, or not looking at me. So
of course, he's an attention whore.
I think that kind of bothered him. Just my opinion based on what we know about Paul.
Well, it's many people's opinion.
I'll leave it at that. That's how I looked at things and how it looked to me and how things went down. So anyway, otherwise it was great.
Yeah, I mean, the electric set was, again, the one thing that kind of stood out that was a bit of a surprise was early on was Take Me. I thought, wow, okay, considering how Paul is vocally, it was a surprise that he did it. And it wasn't too bad, but it wasn't stellar by any stretch of the imagination, but it was passable. And the set list itself was, again, the one thing about this is, like we said earlier, these kind of events were usually made and people were anticipating different songs. And I know we already talked about this 100,000 times that at this point in their career, they can't really afford to do that anymore. Because I mean, like, for example, Ken brought up a great example that he said, he was glad that they didn't do I Was Made for Loving You. Right now, I Was Made for Loving You has like 1 billion streams on Spotify, which is easily probably their most popular song that they have in their catalog right now, which should have been a no-brainer for them to play because of that. But because of the way Paul's voice is, they can't do that anymore. He can't sing that.
That song is for the casual listener, fan out there. They're the people that like that song. The true Kiss fan, that's not their favorite song.
Come on, it doesn't matter if it's their favorite. Everybody knows that song. Okay, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, they know it, but it's mostly for the casual.
Okay,
fan.
But I'm saying they do, but they do like Love Her All I Can, which is okay. But at this point, they've played it a couple of times already, so it's not getting that rare anymore, right? And I think the set is fine for what it is, but again, I had the same issue with the same thing with Bruce Kulick when they finally brought Bruce up, because I've been a Bruce guy since day one. You watched my first episode on here. I said my favorite guy in the band was Kiss. Always has been and always will be. And that wasn't cool. That was not cool at all, that he completely just rubbed them off like that. And, poor Paul, for 1 minute in the show, the cameras weren't all on him. Like, give me a break, Paul. I mean, really? That's like total, like 10-year-old acting, like, I still can't believe these guys, they've had such a long, good career. They've made millions of dollars and played to millions of fans around the world and had such a great, run at things here. And they give Bruce finally a little bit of credit and bring him up on stage. And Paul can't even be happy with that. It had to still be him. That I don't know. This is probably the musician and me really taking offense to this, because who knows how many people in the audience actually really clued into some of that stuff. But, overall, the set I thought was okay. It wasn't great. I've heard them play much better, even in these sort of conditions. But, there were some good songs on here. I mean, Calling Dr. Love is always a great song, and, the songs that I wanted to hear, they played, Black Diamond and all those other songs. But, will they ever do a set again where they'll surprise us and play something that we don't expect at all? I think those days are pretty much done. But, let's just be happy, I guess, that they're still playing. And this rumor that I heard about them doing a new record, I don't know where that was done, because I don't remember hearing that. So maybe I missed it in an interview or something. But if they are going to do some new music, then wow, that that to me is the most exciting thing of the whole event. To me, is I'd love to hear what they could possibly come up with, because I mean, technology can help them along the ways with that in any way, shape, or form. So.
Yeah, no. Paul mentioned doing some new music potentially for the avatars during Q&A, and then during a TMZ follow up, he was asked about whether it was going to be as risque as the last album. He's very cool in that TMZ thing, stopping the elevator door with his foot to continue his answer. I thought that was fun, Paul. Just one thing. None of us know what Paul was thinking or feeling when he was on stage. He apologized. I've got to take these guys at face value, that it isn't a deliberate snub, because Paul's a professional. Paul is about the presentation. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt once he apologized, and it seemed to be a heartfelt apology, sincere. But I will say this to the set as well. Heart of Chrome. You've got Bruce fucking Kulick, and you've got him doing that little 7-note fucking solo from Lick It Up. Come on. If you're going to bring Bruce Kulick up for a guest spot, have Eric Singer sing Heart of Chrome. He's got the pipes to do that and to do it justice. You're going to use Bruce. Use Bruce.
Use him.
The guy's a fighter jet of guitars.
Yeah.
I can play the solo on I Love It Loud and Lick It
Up. Yeah.
Jeez. I could play the solo on the studio version of Rock and Roll All Night too. All right. The set list. Who did I miss? Daniel?
Yeah. Well, I think the set list was pretty okay, pretty good. But the main thing for me was, if I squinted a bit and looked at Paul, it was like a throwback to one of my favorite eras of Kiss. It was like watching, some bad VHS copy of a Cardiff show back in 1992. Because it's the same, Kiss logo in the background, and Paul is, if you squint, he looks pretty much the same. So for me, it was a real throwback to that Honda Shade Detroit concerts that I watched on VHS over and over again, and those bootlegs I got from the UK tour in 92. So I became quite nostalgic when I watched that, and it was good to see them without makeup, just, rocking like they did when I was a kid. They didn't need the makeup. When it comes to the songs they played, I truly enjoyed the one from Rock and Roll Over. Take Me, yeah. Truly enjoyed that one. And two more things. One, they didn't use any tape. It was quite obvious they didn't use tape. Yeah. I think that was a relief. That's the way they should have done it, for those final shows in MSG. So I enjoyed that. They didn't need tape. That was one good thing. And the other thing was that they didn't, it felt like a real band once again. No tape, no effects. They just tried to rock like they did when they weren't, that popular in the early 90s. So I truly enjoyed the setlist. And I think the other thing I want to say is they sang good enough. I mean, I was pretty scared when after one or two songs, understood Paul isn't using any tape. Okay, that's good. But what will happen towards the end of the set? But I think he managed quite well to pull through. And I think it was a pretty cool show.
Yeah, what about that staging? How about that? Pulling out the Hot in the Shade Kiss logo, the slightly malformed.
Yeah, that was a throwback.
Having the inflatable reunion statues up behind the lighting. Here was Kiss unmasked and electrified. I think they hit a home run with that staging. It kind of riffed off the staging that was put into MTV Unplugged, but it was like vibrant. It was colorful. No pyro, no problem. Spectacular looking, again, thanks to the people who filmed that complete show. It wasn't as bad as I thought it could be. Mark said it was passable. And again, those gems that were interspersed within the set. I love Kiss music. I would have been satisfied with that set. There was no Beth, but they should have done Shock Me. Go figure. They did sound check, by the way, and the sound check was for the upper echelon ticket purchasers, and they did Parasite, She, Let Me Go Rock and Roll, and several minutes of Eric correcting Gene on his grammar. And both of that was actually notice it's 3 Gene songs. It was extremely good. Parasite and She were exceptional.
Paul Stanley asked the audience at one point, "Do you want to hear Cold Gin?" Completely silent.
He was playing with them. He was always having fun. It was awesome.
I think it was pretty cool.
Then he kicks into Parasite.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, cool. that was fun. But again, I think the staging has to be called out.
But what about the flag that Paul Stanley caught? He tried to, point up to the heavens, and but everyone is giving him a hard time. You should have done this. You should have done this. He Bruce entered the stage, and everyone is taking a crap on Paul because he didn't do enough. What are your thoughts on that? Did he do enough, or was he was it justified, the criticism he got?
I don't know. Again, I don't.
Perception
know
is the big deal.
Everyone's going to take it differently. I just wish it was more. Again, I don't know what happened. I just know that Paul apologized in public and sincerely. And I want to take it for that reaction to something negative rather than focusing on the negative. Because again, the fans who were there had the exciting moment of Bruce joining Electric Kiss on stage again.
Yeah.
I just wish he hadn't been just so pigeonholed over to that.
Yeah, he's kind of like a side, barely on the stage, barely.
There were no flash pots for him to dodge or anything, but whatever, it happened.
Yeah.
Paul
he even
apologized.
caught flack for his, his comment on Twitter.
They're gonna catch flack for no matter what they do.
But it
Someone's
seems like
gonna pick apart it.
It seems like the army is after Paul Stanley, but whatever it does, they're on in.
There seems to be an awful lot of just vengeance in Paul's direction. These guys are still with us. Ace Frehley has died. And that changes my perception of many things. I said it on another show, or a recent show, that all the stuff I bitched about on Kiss Cruise 8 kind of goes out the window because that was the last time he played with Gene and Paul, with Bruce. That 6-person lineup on that Sail Away show changes. Like I've just said today, my perception of Tommy doing Shock Me that day was negative, but I would have taken it in Vegas as a tribute to Ace. Death changed everything. Who the hell knows what these guys were feeling? Could they have been wanting to cancel it because of Ace passing? What did it take each one of those guys to get up on stage and do this? We don't know, and it's not our place to know. So I go with what I see. I see a sincere apology. Whatever happened, happened. There's no changing it. I know all about not being able to change things have happened when it comes to Kiss. So there we go. Let's close out with the Bruce Kulick Band. And I can't say this time that the Bruce Kulick Band saved the Kruise because that pre-party happened. And there's just so much to choose from. I say that the Bruce Kulick Band set was the perfect finale to a rocking and rolling 3 nights of Kiss music and Kiss fandom. And this was the set I was waiting to see. It was the one I was excited to see the most before it happened, just because of previous history. I will say thank you to the person who taped. There was a poor girl being murdered throughout that whole set. That poor thing. I think she was being burned at the stake at one point.
Yeah.
She was being pressed into the Iron Maiden at another point. I think she was obviously passed out, and every time she came to, she screamed. It was like absolutely amazing. Completely silent until the shrieks. I mean, I really hope they got her help because I think she was being tortured by the music. Daniel, let's start with you for the Bruce Kulick.
Yeah, you always know what you're gonna get with the Bruce Kulick Band, and it's nothing short of phenomenal. Every time he's played the Kruise, it's been, over the top to me. I especially enjoyed that time when he played together with Bob Kulick. That was really, really cool. but he's managed to keep on doing the same stuff, and because he's not doing it very often, it doesn't get old. Because this set list, I think he's done pretty much all of those songs earlier, but it really doesn't matter. I think it's a stellar performance, and he knows the fans. Bruce Kulick really understands what the fans want and what they need, so he can put together medleys and pick obscure songs. And but I especially enjoy when he plays songs like, songs Kiss never played, like that one that they didn't have on Crazy Nights, Sword and Stone. I mean, they had Bang Bang You on that record instead of Sword and Stone. It's mind blowing, but whatever. I think Sword and Stone is such a classic 80s song, and I'm a big fan of the mid 80s era when it comes to movies and music. I really love Rocky IV and stuff like that. So and Survivor, and this is almost like a Survivor song. I think it would have been perfect on Crazy Nights, but it's pretty cool to hear it with Bruce Kulick and his band. So it's a great set list. It's a great band. I hope they continue playing.
Awesome. Mark,
Yes.
what did you think about the Kulick group?
Well, this is going to come as no surprise to you, but nothing needed saving. I don't think at this point, because like you said, the pre-party stuff was fantastic. But to me, he was still the highlight of the whole thing. To me, I mean, Bruce Kulick, his band.
That was the audience member chiming in.
Yeah, I honestly think that he was better than anything that was up there. Better than the Kiss performances, better than the pre-party stuff. And the pre-party stuff was great, but Bruce Kulick, he like you said before, he knows what the Kiss fans want to hear. His set list was absolutely perfect. I really enjoyed it. To me, that was the one set that I watched more than once, like in a row. Like I watched it back to back because I really enjoyed it. And I think that his guitar playing is fantastic. I mean, Bruce Kulick, when I hear him play now, I can pick out it's Bruce now. He definitely has his style of guitar playing and lead playing, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, there's nothing in that set list that I would change that he played. It was great. And I mean, you were saying that, Daniel, that you said that he was going to be, that the set list becomes the same after a while, but it's only because he's just playing the 80s material. If he finally just, realizes that, hey, you know what, they're not going to chastise me if I play something else from another record, then he can easily make the set list much more dynamic. If he plays like Parasite one time, or if he puts in something else that's not a 80s song only. Well, he did Parasite in this set, but he dedicated it to Ace. But if he does something different in there, then easily he can change up the set list. No matter what he touches, I love it. Just like you, Daniel, when they did the Alive 3 era stuff, all the old stuff, the original material that he played, I thought was amazing. I loved when they did Deuce with Bruce. I loved that rhymed. I also loved when they did a lot of the older songs, and like Calling Dr. Love and all these other songs. He played them great. So as far as I'm concerned, Bruce Kulick to me is the man, will always be the man in Kiss, and as long as they involve him somehow in Kiss stuff, then Kiss will do just fine. And I sometimes wonder if there's maybe a slight bit of guitar envy from Paul, because he knows that he isn't anywhere as good a guitar player as Bruce Kulick.
Ken?
Yeah, no, Bruce Kulick was great. That band is great. He is top notch. It was his guitar playing. I mean, just no doubt about it. Still has it. I do like the set list. Almost all of the set list. There was I just do not like King of Hearts. I cannot stand that song. That's one of those songs I just do not like. I think it's a juvenile chorus of that one, or pre-chorus, whatever it was in that song. I just do not like it. It just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know what it is about that. Sword and Stone, yeah, it was nice that they pulled that one out. I agree with Daniel. It's kind of like a Survivor. It would have been a perfect song for them to sing. That group. It is that kind of song. But the other ones on there, Thrills in the Night. You know, there's a lot of people don't like that. I do like that song a lot off of Animalize.
Ken,
So I
what's
think
up with your newfound love about Animalize? You've been talking about
yeah, I don't
Animalize.
know. Animalize is getting better
Something
and
is
better all the
happening.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna. You know,
That's cool.
I think it gets bad rap. I think it's
Overlooked.
pretty good. Yeah, a little overlooked. I think. Maybe it's the newer the vinyl release that had the supposedly fur feel of the vinyl. No, I don't know of the cover.
You like
No.
rubbing it, yeah.
The fur, rubbing of the fur. Ken
Rubbing
likes
the fur. I like to
Rubbing
rub
the
it.
fur thing, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Rub it
my.
hard. Okay.
I could go down the wrong way with this.
Okay, but spit and then spit. I thought that was great. Pull to pull that one out. I know Lonnie. We miss you, Lonnie. I don't know where you are, Lonnie, but I know you would have liked spit because I know you like that song a lot. So yeah, and the car jam into Paralyzed and then spit. All that little sequence there was really great to kind of recognize Revenge. So. Top notch performing. Bruce, yep, he still has it. I hope he has a solo album soon.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, you know what? I enjoyed the set. It was tough with the shrieker.
Edit her out. Yeah, they need to edit her out.
Yeah. But again, that's how she celebrates the music. So
I love the passion.
I enjoyed Unholy. There you go. And that's my
There you
final
go.
team pick for the night. Because I also really enjoyed King of Hearts, and I think Ken's comments are absolutely ludicrous. I really enjoyed it.
Wow.
Because it's a cheesy pop song.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's super cheese. It's perfect Kiss fodder for me. So, and then my third pick from that set is, of course, Turn on the Night. You cannot go wrong. But I think
that's a great one. Yeah.
The variety of that set, Bruce, paying homage to his brother, to Eric Carr, having Eric Singer come up for Domino, and acknowledging him, just shows that Bruce is a class unto himself. Yeah. He holds that, he waves that banner for that era of Kiss. He did Parasite in tribute to Ace. What a classy guy. And what a great bunch of musicians he's got around him. And what a great deal of passion. And just an incredible player. He just plays his guitar. He can't be a frontman to save his life. But he can play his guitar and do what he does best. And the guys he puts around him really do honor to that music. And to me, that's the high point. It's a fitting culmination to the event. I don't care about the other stuff, the Black and Blue set. I haven't seen number one. I did see them doing their preview of the new album, which I then immediately went off and purchased. So I'm looking forward to receiving that. I don't care about the other musical acts that were there. And I skipped most of those on the cruise as well when I was there. It was all about the Kiss events and the Kiss music. That's what I wanted to enjoy. But it was nice that there was some variety. I think all in all, do I regret not going? No. But had I gone, I would have enjoyed all that. Yeah. I definitely would have enjoyed all that. But the fact that, so much of what I would have enjoyed was in an unofficial pre-party prior to the event also skews things a little bit, because if I only weigh it as the acoustic set, the electric set, and Bruce, I have a very different kind of outlook on the return on investment for personal enjoyment. So that really skews the whole conversation. And that was an add-on. That wasn't included in the price of Landlocked in Vegas.
Yeah, that's true.
It's almost, putting a weight on the scale in some ways, including those three sets. But I think I think the event needed that to have more Kiss content, more Kiss music. If you're going to do it, you don't, no offense to the other groups that were involved, I don't think you need Quarantine, Black and Blue, Rat, and Quiet Riot. I don't think there's a lot of upsell. If you then say that you've got the all-star tribute band, the Ace Frehley band, and the Handsome Devils, that more than offsets it, and jam that into the event. So it'll be interesting to see. Final thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head, Julian. I mean, I totally forgot about Rat and Quiet Ride. And honestly, I totally forgot that they played at that. So, you know, and I loved Rat in the 80s back then. So that's kind of a shame that they've fallen as they have. But anyways, I think the Kiss thing, it was interesting. You know, I wouldn't have paid to go to it, obviously, but for what we got on video, it was fantastic. I enjoyed it. The opening acts, you know, the pre-party stuff was really good, and again, Bruce made me extremely happy with his set. So I would have walked away, I'm pretty sure, very happy with it. And again, the main thing is that we would have met with a lot of like-minded people if you were to go there, and that would have made it all the much better on top of it.
Right, but was there a midnight buffet with endless bacon? I want to know the answer to that, and hopefully Three Sides will provide that answer. Ken, what's your summation of the event?
Yeah, I think it was, great. I'm sure people there, if I was there, I would have been very happy. And from watching the videos, I enjoy. And thank you to all the people who filmed it and allowed us to watch these videos. So thank you so much. I think it's great. I think maybe sounds like they're going to do a cruise next year, probably. They'll probably take a look at what they did here and add some things or do some things the same way, and then maybe they will take that pre-party stuff, say, hey, that seemed to go down well, let's include that on the ship, have those, like you were saying, Julian, you probably don't need Rat and Quiet Right and that sort of stuff. So I think they may look at that and make a good cruise for when that happens, I guess. So yeah, it's good. I think it's great that we got Kiss to play live, a live show, or a couple of live shows technically. So I think I'm happy about that. I got to see that. It's always good, even though it's not Kiss of 77, 80s, 90s, whatever. It's Kiss of whatever it is now, and it's still great to hear the music and have our living members still around to perform it for us. So that's good.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, imagine if Gene had hopped up on the Handsome Devils during Fits Like a Glove to throw in a few
That would have been good.
Yeah, or even just ad lib certain vocal sections.
Like
who
butter.
knows? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Daniel.
Yeah, all things considered, I think it was great because you have to take into account the build up for this event. That seemed like something was really messed up because first they named the event one thing, then they changed the name of the event. Eric Singer was even going to be there, so there was a lot of confusion before the event took place. So I was thinking that this might go completely, wrong. But all those things considered, it went over really well. People who was there, they seem to really enjoy it, and they're satisfied with the event. And I've seen some pictures from they brought a lot of stuff, like pictures, and it looked great. Posters, I saw. Like the lifts or the elevators, they had big, great, cool Kiss pictures.
Yeah,
on the
they were
elevator
great.
doors. So it looked just wandering around that hotel must have been some stroll. Yeah. So I think it went over well, and like you guys said, it almost felt like a test run. They tried a few things, and hopefully, if they do something next year, it will be even better, and I think it will be. I think they will include the bands like the tribute bands that were so great, and maybe not include Quite Right next time around.
Yeah. Well, there we are. I mean, that's just our view from the sofa. about the music that we've been able to experience, and it's a different experience than being there. Obviously, we're not trying to pretend otherwise, but we can still talk about the music. It happened. It's available. You can check it out on YouTube yourself. Obviously, this week, the Kiss Alive box set was released, and that's now available for streaming and for purchase exclusively. I did a half-assed unboxing of it for people who can't wait to see their own. There's some things I haven't revealed deliberately. I just don't do the full reveal on my unboxings. I do them how I want to do them, and then I sit back and enjoy it myself. But I at least give people a peek into what is in there. And if you haven't bought it, and you're expecting a freebie, sorry, some other unboxing can do it. So we will be talking about that once everyone's had a chance to digest. And there's so much. This is like getting the Gene Simmons vault all over again. That all of a sudden you've got all of these songs to kind of digest and get familiar with, so that you can talk about them. 4.5 Kiss shows have been released, plus the Off the Soundboard, have been released in 2025. Who would have thought? My box came in super fast, and so I've been able to enjoy it.
Lucky.
Well, it's LP. I don't play LP, so I had to wait for the digital to start digging into that. So I bought the HD 9624 from was it HD Tracks at Cubase or whatever it's called. And nice. I am blown away. I can't wait to start talking about these. I've already A-B'd. I'm trying not to do any A-B'ing of songs. I want to enjoy all of this music first before I get into the analysis and soul-destroying stems to compare bass lines between. Well, it is. I mean, I immediately had to A-B King Biscuit Flower Hour, and did confirm that the 3 songs that were always thought to be Wildwood were Wildwood, though Black Diamonds obviously had its intro section edited. Let me know rock and let me know, pardon me, not let me know rock and roll. Let me know is clearly Cleveland, because it's not Kobo. It could be something else. But what about those rehearsals? You can go listen to those now. People did not see those coming.
I'm waiting for my vinyl.
Yeah, but you could go listen on Spotify. So so we'll be that. The next show is going to be that, and again, there's going to be tons of podcasts to catch up on. Peter did Beth at a show last night, by the way. For hopefully that video will be popping up.
Cool.
Someone on the board of the event contacted me early during the week, but I didn't want to say anything about it until it happened. So that's very cool. And everything continues. So there we are. That's the show for this week. I want to thank everyone who joined us. A great live audience today. Lots of great content. Yeah, they rented the Intrepid before. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I'm sure they're analyzing the event from both the fiscal side and also the response from people who were there and people who are on the fence. Even our opinions perhaps matter, because, again, our opinions are attached to wallets. So we'll see what they come up with next. But here you go. 2025, 2 years after the end of the road, Kiss hit the stage. Kiss fans, who's really going to complain about that? Let's celebrate these guys, because as Gene would say, every day above ground is a good day. All right, that's it for this week. So from Mark, from Daniel, from Ken, and myself, thanks for joining us, and we shall see you next time. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the message board and discuss the topics we've broadcast today. Don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you've listened to this show, and a like would very much be appreciated. We hope you'll join us again, but until then, remember, life's a radio. Turn it up to 10.